So
All right.
official.
Yeah, I know. Recording in progress. All right.
Uh,
How you doing today, Kat?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
it's like I'm working a 4-day week now, and then
Mm-hmm.
this is my day that I take for myself to work on my
Mm.
own projects and stuff. So it's
Okay.
and I'm also trying to learn how to be in the flow on those days.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
cool.
it's uh
So these
it's
are
a
your
good.
manifestation days, right?
They are actually. They are the days that they're the days of action, let's
Oh,
say.
okay. Very cool. Yeah, because that's what we're going to be talking about today, right? We're going to
Yeah.
explore the idea of manifestation and you and I connected in a really fun way, I would say. Like we kind of did the whole manifestation thing and we did the meditation thing and then we're just like, "Hey, let's talk about this."
Yeah,
Because
well, actually, you're the one who inspired me.
oh yeah, right.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I saw one of your videos where you were talking about it. You were
Yes.
talking about like really doing one of Dispenza's meditation
Mm-hmm.
and doing it constantly. And so
Mm.
that yeah, you were inspiring me for that. Because I
Oh, cool.
meditate and I've meditated, I sometimes do Joe and I sometimes do this and sometimes I do a lot of different things, but I really liked your idea of like doing one for a while. So
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about that today because I think that it's such a beautiful, I think you can do it in so many different ways, right? But it's such a beautiful thing to like invest some of your time and focus into a few areas of your life. And the more I'm doing it, the more I'm kind of starting to realize that the idea of like abundance, of having a lot of like money, friendships, opportunities, and all these beautiful things that we want in our lives, like that's kind of the base layer for us. We need that in order to then be able to like have enough open space to be able to give back and create and so on. So for me, I feel like it's very fundamental. It's like
mhm.
it's something that we start there and then we can go further. How does it feel for you?
Yeah, so I'm trying to understand, are you yeah, because it is funny how it's almost like you have to first work on yourself, I guess. It's like filling your own cup
Yeah.
type thing. And I agree that sometimes I think we have, especially kind of in the personal development or spiritual world, sometimes even me, sometimes I feel it's hard sometimes to want things only for yourself or, but you do have to start there. And I
Yeah.
find that more and more I'm learning to ask for things
Yeah.
and be okay with that, as you said.
Right.
It's like kind of
Yeah.
like the baseline, and then from there you can maybe, be able to offer more actually.
Right. It's sort of like the whole idea of like when you're in an airplane, you put on your own oxygen mask first, and then you're able to help
Yeah.
other. And I know people say that all the time, but it's kind of like it's realizing that you're worthy to
Yeah.
receive,
Yeah.
and that you're and then whatever you feel, whenever you like give yourself enough love to kind of feel like your cup is starting to fill up, then you are vibrationally, you know sending that out into the world, and then the world can mirror that back to you,
Yeah.
and then it's become such a beautiful exchange. So I think that's what I mean by that, like kind of
Yeah.
focusing on yourself first and then seeing the result in the exterior, in the world around you.
Yeah, and I've really seen it firsthand how that happens. Like, for
Right.
example, at the beginning, you feel like, I mean, selfish is not the right word, but it's really self work.
Yeah.
So it's really on yourself, but then like somehow I do feel like more and more I find myself to be like you work on it at the beginning, it's like almost something that you kind of like have to work. It's like, an exercise and then it comes naturally, but more
Yeah.
and more to feel compassion for others, to
Yeah.
really feel the love for them, to feel, to not have as many knee-jerk reactions, let's say,
Right.
towards people who might do something funny, to be like, oh, okay, what's happening for them in their day, like, but that comes first from working on yourself
Right.
and
Yeah.
um
Yeah,
and
because I
going
also
in.
feel like there's a few different stages, and I think that's where you're kind of getting at. So, like in the beginning, when I started with it, I faced my own triggers, my
Yeah,
triggers of like, well, am I really worthy of receiving this? And
yeah,
also my triggers of like, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? Is it gonna work? Like I met my own humanness, you know?
Yeah,
And I was talking to someone else the other day about that. Like we come across our own humanness, our mind that's like, well, it works for others, but it's not gonna work for you.
yeah,
And all those things. And I think we meet those triggers in ourselves as we meet the triggers in other people, right? So it's
totally. And I'm still having some of those triggers.
yeah,
You
me
know,
too.
like it's not like just this like, ooh, perfect line. Like,
No,
like I don't know, 2 weeks ago I was having great meditations, and then last week it was completely back, like couldn't think, couldn't concentrate. And then I start going back into those like, oh well, this isn't gonna work. Like this
yeah,
is always and
exactly.
it works for others, not for me
Yeah,
type thing. And
yeah,
it's so
exactly.
interesting. Like you work on them, they kind of heal, and then you feel like that you've resolved them, and then oops, they come back.
They come back. They come back. And
Yeah.
also what I've realized in that process is like there's a few different types of meditations. Like
Yeah.
there's the meditation like when you feel like everything is going great and you're like,
Yeah.
man, good
Yeah.
job, Marie. And you go out and you're like, right?
Totally.
Yeah, that's
Totally.
when you're focused, you know. That's what you were talking about when you're talking about like your perfect week, you know. And that's the then there's the meditations where like the mind is going blah, 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 and it's
Wow, that
talking about
actually
everything.
sounds nice.
Yeah. And then you're sitting there and you're like, yep, that didn't work, right?
I wasted that time, but
All right.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then there's the meditations where like I fall asleep.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm like,
Oh
oh, okay. Well, that wasn't good either. So there's like a few buckets, right? There's a few buckets of meditations, and then I'm realizing that they start to cycle, you know?
yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
you have 2 days of the overthinking meditations, then you have like one day of the perfect meditation, then you have another way. Oh, there's
Yeah.
also another type of meditation that is like the idea meditation, where I get out of it and I'm like, I'm full of ideas. And I'm like,
Oh
oh
yeah.
my
Oh
God. And I'm
yes. Oh
writing
yeah.
down and I'm
Oh yeah. 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 Yeah.
right?
Yeah. 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 That's the one where I'm like, oh my gosh, but like I have to write these down, but I'm like, nope, I'm right now, I'm
Stay
meditating.
here. Stay
Yeah,
here.
staying
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
The distraction one. But
Yeah.
it's interesting that you were talking about cycles, because I was actually thinking about that today, because I started my moon cycle, my period today, and I was
Yep.
realizing like for the last couple of days, like I've had a really hard time meditating, sitting there, and I just was realizing maybe also sometimes like I was wanting to look into this, like spirituality and like women, like just the fact that we go through cycles ourselves,
Yeah. Of course.
and it probably influences also just the way we are able to sit present and what we feel and how we feel in our bodies. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. And I think I'm really pleased to be talking about it because I think it's so helpful to other people to realize that, like, you're going to come across all of your humanness. You're going to see all these different cycles of meditations where you feel like it's not really working out for you. And you're going to come against all of your self-doubt. And
Yeah.
then what happens is the magic thing when you start to realize it's actually working, even though all of these things are happening to you,
Yes. 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 Yes.
right?
Totally. Yeah, I agree. And also, I think that when you do, I don't know, do you know Tara Brach
Yes.
or Pema Chodron? Both of them, they talk about the fact that there is no good meditation. Like
Yes.
I think when we first start to meditate, we're like, oh, well, to be a good meditator is to like be able to do it perfectly, and like,
Yep.
and also when you do have those moments of elation or these like, because you do get to those in some
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
meditations, like I've had these amazing experiences, and you think when you start that you're just going to have that, but I think more and more what I realize is that, as you said, they cycle and they come back, and it's not about actually, in a way, it's like both Tara Brach and Pema Chodron often talk about this, is like there's no good or bad meditation. There's just meditation, which is being present.
Yeah.
And so if you're present with that crazy feeling, well, that is what you're going through, and that it's just as valid or important or good as when you do have those amazing
Hmm.
feelings, though.
Hmm.
And the
Yeah.
amazing feelings are pretty damn crazy
They
cool.
are amazing. That's why we call them amazing, because that's what they are.
I'm
Exactly.
curious though, like for example, what are your amazing feelings? Like I'm curious
Oh,
to say like what happens to you, let's say like when you're like, oh my gosh, this was a
yeah.
crazy great
Yeah.
meditation.
Yeah.
What
Okay. So when I have an amazing meditation, I go into, what people refers to as like the Higgs field or the unified field or the 0 point, it's like I move into the space where there are no words to explain what it's like,
Mm,
right?
mhm,
And
mhm.
your body is not there, your mind is not there, you're just floating in this soup of consciousness, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And then
Yeah.
you get out of there and you're very energized because
Mm,
it's like it's almost as if you remember that this is where we came from.
mm, mhm,
And it's
mhm.
so beautiful. And it's sort of doesn't happen, there's space between when it happens for sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in the beginning of my journey, I was kind of like when it happened, I really wanted to go back there. I was
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
grasping for it. I was like, ooh,
Yes.
that was nice. How do I get back there? Which we all do also, by the way,
Of
right?
course. Of
Yeah,
course.
because it's such an amazing feeling.
It's
And
such an
once
amazing
you've
feeling.
like tasted that, you're like, wow, it's
I want
incredible.
more.
But then now I'm more relaxed about it. Now I
Yeah.
feel like, okay, if I'm there, amazing. If I'm not there, it's fine too. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. What
And I
about
think
you?
that's the healthy way. I think that
Yeah.
is exactly how we're supposed to like I was listening to a thing that I was by Alan Watts, and he was just saying
Mm,
like, that eventually we even stop kind of using spirituality as a way to like even kind of escape. And so
yeah.
in a way us grasping for those perfect places is just escaping what we're going through, because as
Yeah.
you say, sometimes you get there.
Yeah.
And I like what you said though about being more relaxed and
Yeah.
just being excited when it happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Absolutely.
happy when it happens, and then the other times is not that they're less good; they're just
No.
different.
Exactly. It's
Yeah,
kind of as if you're having different days, right? Monday is
yeah,
different from Tuesday, is different from Wednesday, and every single day in your life is different. And I feel
yeah,
like meditation is like that too. Meditation is a chance for you to sit with yourself so that then that can then spread throughout the rest of your life, that you can have
yeah,
acceptance and love throughout the rest of your day,
yeah,
So essentially, I think eventually you don't necessarily need to meditate. You're like constantly in a meditative state, if that makes any
yeah.
sense.
Totally, because I find, I mean, because there's different meditations, but some of the meditations I really like doing are the ones where you just sit and you kind of like ask yourself, like, what is going on with me today? Like, what am I feeling?
Mm,
Okay, is that anger, joy, happiness? Okay, okay, fine. I can put a name on that. And now where is it in my body? And just feel it. And
yeah,
sometimes what I found with those is that at the beginning I would only really kind of understand those things when I was meditating, but then gradually doing it over and over, I would catch myself during the day like, oh, interesting, that person is triggering this anger in me. Or all of a sudden I'd catch myself being like, wow, I have joy. Like what is this coming from? Or I feel like it's almost like you train yourself to do it during, like, you can start really small, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then what's interesting is it's like a muscle, and then you train yourself to be present, and it's hard. The
it's hard.
first for the beginning, your body is going to resist it. Your body is like going to say, I don't want to be this. It's like training a dog or a small child. It's like, they're gonna if you've never said no to it, your body is not gonna want to sit down even for 5 minutes. But then eventually, what's interesting is the more you do it, the more I found that, like, throughout the day, I would feel more present and be more present in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a beautiful way to come back to you, right? To face all of your inner demons, to face all of your unhealed wounding. And
Mm.
what I find also is the more you do it consistently, you are allowing your body to go deeper.
Yeah.
So like now things are coming up for me that I've been holding on to for such a long time. And
Mm.
they're
Mhm.
super painful and they come up like a volcano. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, yesterday I did a cacao ceremony with friends, and in the evening I was like fetal position crying like a baby because of pain that came up that I had been holding on, that I hadn't been allowing myself to see for years.
Yeah.
And when it came up, I was like, whoa, there's like a lot of blame, anger, sadness in here. victimization, like a feeling of like being, like all
Yeah.
those things that we
Yeah.
hold on to so dear, like because we don't want to feel them, we push them down. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's also a painful but beautiful way to release all of those things, like let them move.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree. And I agree also with your with what you just said about like because of doing it consistently, which is interesting, and also remembering that each day is different. Different things will come up through the meditation. Like each time I'm always amazed because I mean maybe we'll get into this a little later depending on the different meditations, but the one I was doing with Joe Dispenza, he asked you to visualize different things. And each time, like I felt like I was having a different visualization or something different would come up. And either the act, because he asked sometimes, to like really embody something. And so then sometimes when you would try to embody that feeling, all of a sudden I feel resistance towards it. And so then I let myself just like kind of explore that. Okay, why am I feeling that resistance? Why is this hard for me to feel this? Or and kind of like what you were saying about what came up during your cacao ceremony is that eventually I think like the more you do it, more these little things come up. These
Yeah.
little things that might be even hiding, things that you
Yeah.
thought you were resolved.
Exactly, exactly. And you might be able to go deeper and deeper on those. And what also happens is when that's coming up, it's just coming up for you to see it. So it's on its way out, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
it's sitting with that as it's on its way out, and then it's kind of like, okay, we don't need to be in this body anymore, and
yeah,
that's such a beautiful thing as well. Like you're allowing your body to, just from your pure focus, you're allowing
yeah,
your body to heal, to release, and that's what I find the absolute most beautiful thing about our bodies. Like as long as we focus on something, we spend time with it, we focus on our breathing, or whatever it is we're focusing on during
yeah.
meditation, the body's like, oh, her attention is here now. Let's fix this. And it
Yeah,
does it
yeah,
on its
yeah.
own. It's unbelievable, right? It's like
And that's another
beautiful.
thing, though. I think it's really good to mention, that like I think again, when we meditate, sometimes we all come in for different reasons, and um, but I know I was coming in often like just wanting to always feel good, and at the same time to be scared sometimes when things would come up. Like I did Vipassana meditation, and and actually like so while I was there in my retreat, I had like this huge anger come back up, and it was so painful. And but at the time, I didn't know. I later went and talked to the teacher there, and she explained it was because I was meditating that all this stuff was coming up. But so it's kind of can be, oops, sorry, it can be really scary sometimes when those things come up because we don't know why they're coming up, but they're coming up as you said because finally the body's like, oh, she's here, let's deal with this.
Start sweeping.
Yeah, but so it's almost like you have to pop a pimple, like it's like you have the healing crisis, but you have to know that it's part of it and that it's good. That
Yeah,
if those things are coming up, it actually means that you're doing the work,
yeah,
not to be
exactly.
scared of that.
Exactly. And not to shy away from the pain, even though that's the most natural
Yeah.
thing in the world to be like, oh, don't want to feel this. This was first time I felt it, it was awful. The second time, it's even worse, right? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
it's a very natural reaction to not want to feel that. Obviously,
Yeah.
we all want to feel good, like you said before, right? We do it because we want to feel better.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then when we end up feeling worse for a little while, we're just like, yep, yep, that didn't work out for me. you
And
know?
that's also why I think some people end up like stopping, which makes sense because you feel like it's not working. You start, like let's say some of, especially let's say with Joe Dispenza's meditations,
Yeah.
they're really like for manifesting, like like trying to change something. So you
Mhm.
start that and you end up thinking like, okay, this is what I want, and I'm like, because he asked you to visualize and he asked you to, what do you want, and so you start doing that, and in the process, though, you go through this other part, which
Yeah.
seems worse.
Yes.
But you are getting there. It's just, it is a process,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. It's kind of like in the fine print, it should be something like, beware, you're going to meet yourself.
fine print. I love that. The
Yeah.
little star, you
Yeah.
know?
Make sure you read this text in very small, six points letter.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Because
it is interesting.
you never get anything good without kind of getting the ugly too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It makes it worth it. And
Yeah.
yeah, actually Tara Brach, I love she had this thing about it's like this person came to see her and he was like, I want to feel better. And so she sent him to a meditation place and he goes and he feels all the, he anger and sadness and frustration. And he comes back and he's like, that didn't make me feel better. And she's like, no, it did. You're feeling better. You're feeling
Mhm.
capacity to feel is better. It didn't say you're going to feel good emotions.
Ah, smart. I like that. Yeah.
But that being said, I also want to say like it's not all doom and gloom. Like you do get to those amazing, amazing places and you do
Yeah.
start seeing real change too.
Yes, you do.
Like,
So let's talk about that for a little bit. Like,
yeah,
how has your feeling been, when you start to see some of the changes on the other side of that kind of healing trigger type of situation?
yeah. Um, so the things I don't know if I have anything really concrete,
Hmm.
but a lot of the things that I really were wanting to change was I just a feeling like it's really like I wanted to feel um just more content and happiness and more gratitude in my life. And I feel like that is very much the case. And what's interesting is not much has changed in my life. Like I haven't, let's say, changed all the things I wanted to, but my feeling towards the exact same situation has changed. And I love that because and it makes life so much more joyful, you know? I feel like I feel like at the beginning you almost have to fake it, you have to fake gratitude and you have to, faking is not the right word because it's like a muscle. So it's like you're doing one little mini push-up and that's hard. And then, but afterwards you can do your full push-up and then maybe two. But I'd say that's the main thing for me is that I really feel that in a deep place I feel genuinely happier and more joy and things like that.
Hmm.
And before I felt like I had to fake that.
Yeah, I love that because and here's the thing, it's like once you deepen that emotion, like you said, nothing on the outside has changed, but you has changed. You have
Yeah,
changed. That's the
yeah,
whole point, right? So
yeah,
when you wake up in the morning, even if like in your bank account there's like $10, you still feel amazing. And
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
only thing that matters. And I
It
know this
does.
sounds so counterintuitive to people who are listening, where like it sounds like that's not doesn't make any sense. But if you truly feel grateful for everything that you have, for the abundance that you already have, for everything that's coming to you, because again, abundance is not just money. It's like
Yeah,
having this conversation with you is abundance because we get to exchange thoughts and ideas and feelings, right? And I think
totally.
that's beautiful. So truly changing that relationship to the exterior world, that's like the number one. And that's what you mean by saying faking it, right? You
Yeah.
induce that feeling first.
You do. You kind of have to like trick yourself, or you have to start really, really small.
Yeah.
Like, like I started really with the gratitude journal. I think such a powerful exercise that's completely underrated, but
Yeah.
like I feel how you can really start to manifest later.
Yeah.
But as you said, it's looking at what you already have and really starting to feel grateful, not just saying it, not like start to, and some days it's hard. But yeah, I think it's also about training yourself. Like life is going to be hard, life is going to have challenges. The glass is going to be half of something. How do you want to be able to look at that glass? My glass is going to be half full or half empty. That's just
Mhm.
fact. It's half. I get to choose though if I see it half full or half empty. That is a choice and that is something that you work towards. And that's what I feel like has changed with me with meditation is
Mhm.
that before I used to see it half full, half empty.
Yeah.
And now I feel like I'm seeing it more half full. Not every day, but more and more.
More and more, exactly. And then what also happens, which Joe Dispenza talks about a lot, and I actually experienced in my own life, is as soon as you start to feel like that, the exterior of environment has to respond to you because you're now vibrating that you're thankful, that you're abundant, that you
Yeah,
are worthy to receive all these things, right? You feel safe in your own body, right? You feel safe to be here on earth, which a lot of times we don't beforehand because we
yeah,
constantly are in this kind of fight or flight, sympathetic nervous system where we're, a little bit nervous about surviving all the time.
yeah,
And I know that sounds funny, but that's where we are, right? We're like
yeah,
breathing
yeah,
up here and we're not, coming down. So feeling safe in our body, and then the world starts to respond to you. And it's like,
yeah,
oh, okay, you're feeling this wonderful. Here's some new people that you can meet. Here's some new opportunities. Here
yeah.
are these things that, because you're vibrating on that level. So I find that it's such a beautiful journey because you get to see firsthand how you can change your own reality.
Yeah, it is true. It's really, really interesting. And also that it's a really gradual step by step, you know.
Yeah.
But I was fascinated by your experience too, that you actually changed something physically.
Yes, I did.
Your Achilles heel.
I did. Yeah. So yeah, I
Like
can
that is
imagine that
insane.
real. Yeah, it was crazy. So just before Christmas last year, I completely tore the Achilles tendon absolutely off. So it was a process of like crutches, all this stuff, learning how to walk again, like really learning how to walk again. And then walking a little wonky for a while because like everything was readjusting, and then eventually being able to walk into a forest again and all this stuff. But what I started realizing is that even though I did all the exercises, I did everything my physical therapist was saying, I realized that it wasn't exactly healing the way I wanted it to, right? And so I went to a meeting with her and she was like, "Well, it's not never going to be the same again." And
Mm.
I looked at her and I said, "Yeah, it's going to be better. It's going to be like 2 you know?" And she started laughing at me just like you
I
did.
love, no, but I'm laughing with you. Like that's
Yeah.
such a great response. I love
Yeah.
it. It's not
Yeah.
going to be like the same. It's going
No.
to be better.
It's gonna be better. I'm gonna have a stronger, right? And so I started focusing on it. And like literally within 3 days, I started feeling my foot adjusting. And I started feeling like the muscle on the inside. And it hurt for a few days because it was aligning. Yeah. And then I started walking. I was like, okay, it's actually working now. It's healing. And I feel like goosebumpy in my body now. And then
Mhm.
after a week, I started feeling it get stronger. It got stronger and stronger. I went out into the forest. I walk a lot with my dog. And 2 weeks later, I was like running a little bit in the forest. I'm like, this feels pretty good. And then I started realizing, wow, it's totally getting stronger now. And
That's
the last part of
amazing.
the story, I went to a kids' party with my youngest, and there was like adults against kids, and we were chasing each other in the forest. And I'm like barreling down this forest over, rocks and like crazy. And as I'm in mid stride, I'm like, wait a minute, like my left foot is stronger than my right.
And it's your left foot that was hurt?
Yes. And I
Wow.
could like feel it. I was like, I gotta start focusing on my right now?
That's amazing. That's
So
really amazing.
yeah, so it's physically healed, got stronger, it's more powerful. I feel so safe on that foot now. I feel like I have a safer footing than I used to, and it's like crazy.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
That is beautiful.
yes,
That's really inspiring.
yeah,
Really.
yeah, and
That's,
it was easy, you know.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
all it takes was dedication, doing it every single day.
Yeah.
And having horrible meditations and good meditations and sleeping meditation, all the stuff we've been talking about, right? So nothing was perfect here. And yet,
No.
just
Yeah.
from me focusing on
Yeah.
my foot, it healed.
Yeah. And
So
it
I've
I think,
definitely
yeah.
experienced it. Yeah.
That's really amazing. And
Yeah.
it's what I find crazy too is it's the power of the mind.
I know. I know.
Because Joe Dispenza talks about that in the placebo, and I am the placebo or something like that.
Yes.
But I find it really interesting too, hearing sometimes my friends talk about, let's say, if they're going through something physical. And of course, like, we do need to take doctors' opinions,
Of course.
like we need to take diagnosis. This is not at all me saying, but I have had many, many, many times when I've gone to the doctor
Mm.
and they have said, for example, I had a really bad case of psoriasis about 12 years ago, where I
Mm.
was covered. I mean, people would look at me on the streets. I looked horrible. I looked like I had like the measles or something crazy.
Okay.
It came from like a psychological something. But anyway, I went to a really top dermatologist in
Mm.
France, and because that's where I was living at the time. And he was like, no, there's nothing to do about it. It's not psychological. And you're going to have to take this mini antibiotic for the rest of your life that's going to have this secondary effect. And here's some cortisone that you're going to have to put on your whole body your whole life. And I went on some forums and I was like, and everybody was like, yeah, each time I stop the cream, it just comes back. But thankfully, my mom actually took me to go see a naturopath. And that person helped me in so many different ways. But first of all, she changed my diet for just 3 months. Now I eat everything back. But
Yeah.
like, I changed my diet and I changed tons of other things as well, just for, 3 months.
Hmm.
And I'm now completely
Mm.
bump free.
Yep.
But it's so interesting because like you have to believe.
You have to
If I had
know.
believed that doctor,
Yeah.
I have to believe that I can heal. You had to
Hmm.
believe that you could change or heal.
Yes.
And that's the main thing is you
Yeah.
have to believe like that you can change whatever these people are saying.
Yeah, 100%. And just as a side note there, they have done studies where they've taken 100 knee patients, who need a knee
Yeah,
replacement,
yeah.
and they have given the replacement to 50% of them. And with the other 50%, they've just put a little scar underneath their knee to make them believe that they actually had the experience. And then they tell them both the same thing. Oh, your knee is replaced. You're going to be so much better, blah, blah, blah. After 3 months, both groups are doing better because the
Yeah,
mind believes that it has a new knee. So it
yeah,
says, oh,
yeah.
this is great now.
It's so crazy.
So
And
the
when we
power of the
find that,
mind.
the
Mm,
power of the mind and the
yeah.
power of being able to, and I loved what you said though, with Leiji, in one
Mm,
of your interviews, is that we're an apprentice. So, as you're learning this, as you were learning with your heel, it's not like you got it right every single day. It's not like it is like a miracle thing. And some days you just also accept that it's not working and that okay, and tomorrow is another day, and that we're learning here.
yeah,
We're
we're
learning as
learning.
we learn to not control our mind, but learn to be able to use the
Yeah.
power of
Our
that.
capabilities, right? And I believe that we have so many capabilities. We're so multidimensional. We're just
Yeah.
like I feel like we're in kindergarten of like our biological abilities, We're
Yeah.
just trying to scratch the surface. Like we're like, "Yay, I healed my Achilles tendon," right?
Yeah.
And our body's like laughing like, "Yeah, let's try something harder," right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It
So,
is, and
yeah.
I also think it gives you, the more you do it, the more you get confidence. I must admit, for example, right now I'm not in a super confident period, let's say. Like there's moments where, I sometimes go back in those doubts of, oh, well, it's still, why isn't it working perfectly for me? Or why am I not able to do this or that or this? But it's a progress.
No, it is a progress, and it's okay to be there. It's okay to try, and I think the most important thing is to experience for yourself, right?
Yeah.
So if we go back to the meditation, right, experience what meditation can do for your state of being to begin
Yeah.
with, and then experience what it can do when you start to co-create, manifest with reality the
Yeah.
what you want in your physical body and outside of the physical body, because it's one and the same thing, right? Which is
Yeah.
really hard for us to kind of grasp. But trial and error, like practice. Oh,
Yeah.
what if I focus on this for a month? What happens
Yeah.
in this area of my life, right?
Yeah.
What if I focus on, healing someone, my friend who gives their consent to me, trying to send
Yeah.
healing powers to them. So like trying things out and then seeing the result. And I think
Yeah.
every single person is going to be amazed at the results that they're able to create.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And trusting and being okay with the being apprentice again
Yeah.
and being the learning phase. Because
Yeah.
I think we've stopped as adults sometimes to learn.
Yeah.
We forget what that is, and we
Yeah.
forget how messy it is and how embarrassing it can be
It,
sometimes.
oh, yes.
You know?
Yes.
And that like, but that's, when we were kids, we used to learn a lot more. We
Mm.
used to be in that state a lot more,
Yeah.
and be comfortable there,
Yeah, totally.
in
Because
the
we were
learning.
in our imagination, right?
Yeah.
And we just created things with our imagination. And
Yeah.
that was beautiful, you know? Now we're afraid of failing. Like, imagine if I had focused on my Achilles tendon for 1 month and nothing happened. It got
Yeah.
worse, right? Oh, you're terrible at this, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so we're
How
afraid of
long,
failing.
how long did it take?
Well, I started noticing things after 3 days. That's when I started noticing the shift. After
Wow.
2 to 3 weeks, I felt that it was very, very strong, and I saw a difference in the muscle mass, and
So good.
everything was different.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
very
it's
amazing.
really quick, also very, very fast.
I'm curious, how much of your meditation did you focus on the Achilles heel?
I mean, I would imagine that it's probably like 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes.
Okay, because oh yeah, can you so the meditation you were following is which one exactly? It's a
Okay,
sit.
so there's a lot of them that you can do, but
Yeah.
and if you want to go to Joe Dispenza, he has a bunch of them, right? The
Yeah.
one that I was using was tuning into new potentials, and it starts out with like a breathing exercise where you kind of get your body ready to
Yeah.
produce new vibrations, new frequencies, and then you move into a state of scanning through your body, kind of like
Yeah.
Vipassana, right, where you
Yeah.
do different areas,
Yeah.
and then you move into a state of like no space, the 0 point
Yeah.
field, and then you move. So that's the very last. So it's kind of like everything is preparing your body
To
for
do this.
allowing something new to come
Yeah.
in, right? For
Yeah.
you to understand that there's all these potentials out there, right?
Yeah.
And then you manifest and you focus on your emotions towards the
Yeah.
very end, and then you receive, and then the very last part is gratitude, like you were
Exactly.
saying. You
Gratitude.
you
Yeah.
give thanks to your body that this already happened.
That's yeah. But so my question is for how did you focus, like, for example, the whole time on that, or were you also thinking of other things? Like every day you were thinking about your heel, or like were you also like adding in other things?
So every day I had two focus areas. One was abundance, where I was like focusing on in calling in money and opportunities and relationships, everything that was kind of pushing me towards my purpose. And then
Yeah.
the second part was health, which was my Achilles
Your
tendon.
heel.
So every day
Mhm.
I did that for,
Both.
well, for many, many days.
Yeah.
Now I've sort of shifted my health focus into more of like a whole body type of situation,
Mm.
um, as I saw that it was healing. But yeah,
Yeah.
those two things. What about you? What are you focusing on in your meditations?
Yeah, so that's why I'm curious because so mine too, the one I chose was the basically it's a meditation that I found on YouTube by
Mm,
Joe Dispenza. It's the
mm.
one that he recommends doing when you're reading the I Am the Placebo.
Okay.
So it's how long is yours? Yours is last
At
time
50 minutes. So almost an hour.
like almost an hour. Yeah, same here. Ours is this one's 50 minutes. So it's
Yeah.
the same thing. It kind of takes you through mine actually was is super interesting. It kind of takes you through like space.
Yeah.
And that's actually something I wanted to talk to you about because it's
Mm.
such an interesting experience just in itself.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, same thing. Like it takes you through space and then kind of like your body, uh, seeing your body in space. And then you kind of try to get to this place where you forget that you're a body or a person or
Yeah.
something, which is
Yeah.
really hard
It
actually.
is.
And then afterwards it says like what is the belief you wanting to get rid of? And then you start thinking about what you want. And so actually I've sometimes like when I was doing it, I didn't feel like I had a precise thing that I would think of each time. And maybe I should try that the next time actually, because like
Maybe.
no, because it's interesting.
Yeah.
Because like I think like that's what I was mentioning earlier is that like I would kind of sometimes try to like because he suggests that you really feel what it feels like to
Yes.
whatever it is. And sometimes I would be like, interesting, I can't feel that. I don't know what it would feel like. For example, how can you feel what it feels like to feel like financially super secure if
Mm.
it's so not what you're used to? I
Mhm.
find that that is something that I find difficult sometimes, is to
Yeah,
actually like get myself to pretend already, because I just don't know what it would feel like, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, some of the things it would really depend. Like I kind of let myself go wherever it was going. To me, some of the things I was trying to, yeah, like even this morning, the one I was working on was this idea, it's like, what is the idea I want to release? The idea I want to release is that manifestation is not for me, and that I can manifest. So then I was thinking, well, and so then you're supposed to feel, how does it feel to be somebody who's easily able to manifest?
Hmm.
And that brought me to that feeling of not feeling worthy. I was
Mm.
like, well, why me? Why would I be able to do this? Like, am I, why would I be able to have everything I want? Like, that doesn't seem fair to others. Anyway, so then I went on to that, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and then what I ended up manifesting, like not manifesting, but trying to embody, was this feeling of, well, I am worthy. So but that's how I got there, you see, because I was
Yeah, yeah.
trying to do this like money thing that brought me here, that realized maybe I just have a lot of blocks. So you have to kind of go backwards, you know?
Hmm. Yeah,
And
no, I love that. I think that's exactly the experience. And I think that that kind of programming that, it's not fair if I have this, but other people don't. It's something that's so deeply seated within us that
mm,
we have to kind of overcome that block before
yeah,
we can, manifest it because we feel like, oh, I'm now a bad person because I have money or I have
yeah,
these things that,
yeah,
not everyone has, right? So I think that's what's preventing us. We're putting blocks up against it receiving us. We're
yeah,
saying, no, no, I can't have this because nobody else is having it. And I this kind of brings us back into what this earth is all about, right? So are we here to experience things for ourselves? Are we here to rescue other people and so on and so
yeah.
forth, right? And we almost feel like we're selfish. It's like
Mm,
egoic if we're asking for things. But I've come to the point to realization that I really don't think it is, right? It's like what we're here on an individual journey, right? Each person has a soul contract that we're trying to figure out how to work through all the karma, whatever it is. And when we get to, work through our own stuff, then we can remove the blocks and then we can shine an energy that then other people can see and mirror and react to, and that
mm.
allows them to go through the same process.
Yeah, yeah. No,
And I think
and
it's
it kind of comes back full circle to what we were talking about right at the beginning, which is we need to feel like we can fill our own cups. It's almost like we need to be able to tend to our own needs and to our own worthiness and all that. We need to believe that we are worthy,
yeah.
and that
Yeah,
we deserve to, like, that everybody does, you know.
absolutely. And the beauty of it all is so like if we go to science, right? Quantum physics has already proven that we're all interconnected, right? We're
Yeah,
all
yeah, yeah,
completely interconnected,
totally.
which means that if I heal my body, I'm also
Yeah,
healing yours,
yeah, yeah,
right? And I'm healing 8 billion people's bodies.
yeah,
I'm healing
yeah,
Gaia and so on and so forth. Like
yeah,
this is a hard concept to grasp, but when we're moving through our own triggers, our own
yeah,
trauma, our own anger, we're actually helping other people do the same
hmm,
because we're
hmm,
doing work for everyone. And
yeah,
that's why I would say it's the least egoic thing that you can do.
yeah. I agree with that. And I also think that, like, I can see that firsthand, that when I do finally work on myself, first of all, at one point, I just almost had to surrender to that idea, because like the idea of like I wanted to help others, but I was like, I don't even know what to do. The only thing I know what to do is to help myself. Like, that's the only thing, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And then I also see more and more that, when you start to change, then you influence people. You overhear your partner saying something to a friend of his that you mentioned to him, and then you
Yeah.
just see that it can very quickly spread.
Yeah,
too.
isn't that beautiful? Right? It's so
Yeah.
beautiful how, and also we affect each other by just our energy, right? Our energy field is so large, like our
Yeah.
heart's energy field, they measured it. It's like 6 times larger than the brain's, right? So we're
Wow.
actually physically affecting people around us with our vibration. So
Yeah.
it's such a beautiful thing to work on yourself because you're truly doing a service for all of humanity.
Yeah. 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 I wanted to come back also to, we mentioned that the meditations that we're doing are 50 minutes, and that can be a little bit off-putting, let's say.
Long, yes.
But I find that what's interesting is that it really is first of all, I don't do 50 minutes every day. I did that meditation for 21 days.
Mm,
And then like now I've gone back to just doing different ones, but I might come back to it.
mm.
Um, I felt the reason why I wanted to stop was that at one point, like I wasn't listening to his voice anymore. Like I was having a hard time connecting to the voice because I knew it so well, you know? Um, but I just also wanted to mention that, you can really start small. Like you can really start even with 2 or 3 minutes a day can really already be huge.
Oh my
Um,
goodness. Even just sitting down, closing your eyes and taking like 3 deep belly breaths and just
yeah,
letting them out real
yeah,
slow.
yeah,
I know it sounds so, but just that resets your entire nervous system. It
yeah,
changes your biomarkers. It changes your heartbeat. It's like it resets your entire being with just 3 seconds, five
yeah.
seconds of just
Just
breathing.
the breath.
It's like a mini meditation, you know?
Yeah, yeah, just recentering.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I wanted to mention too is that it's that I really think it's something like I started yoga about, I don't know, a year and a half ago,
Mm.
and I would only do 10 minutes a day at the beginning, just on a YouTube thing.
Yeah.
What was interesting is like if it's, and I think meditation is the same, which is if you just do it one time, like for sure it's not gonna do anything. You're gonna be like, oh, this didn't work or this isn't helpful.
Yeah.
But what I found with the yoga and what I find with the meditation too is that the more I do it, the more at the beginning it's like a chore, something on my
Mhm.
list of things to do.
Yeah.
The more now I need it.
Yes. You
Like
want it.
I want it.
Yes.
And that is such a difference because like every once in a while, like after a day of work, like what I really want to do is go sit in silence for
Yeah.
just a little bit because
Yeah.
I feel like my body is craving it. But I couldn't get there until you have to force yourself a bit.
Yeah, yeah, you do. It's almost like you had mentioned The Apprentice, right?
Yeah.
You have to be a disciple and you have to be disciplined. So you need to do it many days over. It's the same thing as like changing your diet, right? If you eat
Yeah.
vegetables for one day, it's not going to make a difference. But if you start to replace,
Yeah.
and eat vegetables more every single day, then it starts to supercharge your body. So it really is, I would say the most important thing on this kind of spiritual journey that we're on is discipline.
Yeah.
Figuring
And
out
consistency.
something and like sticking to it for a certain amount of time. And I know it's hard, but it's better to do like, let's say you have 365 days. It's better to do 300 of those days than to do none,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I know we hear this all the time, but when we're ready, we will take up a practice and we will continue with it and we'll reap the benefits and it just becomes part of our world and
Yeah.
it's a very beautiful thing and meditating is essentially us sitting with source for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
can be more beautiful than that?
Yeah. It's also like just making that choice of, yeah, making that choice of like, this is, as you said, like, this is good for me.
Mhm.
I know, for example, I also find that one thing that helped me was to make small, like for example, 3 years ago for New Year's, my New Year's resolution, I only had one, was to meditate at least 10 minutes a day. Because I knew I could find 10 minutes a day. Because the thing is, if you start too big, you're gonna fall off the wagon and you're just gonna, But what I liked about that is that 10 minutes I know I can find, and I know I can follow that, and I can do that very easily. But usually I do more.
Yeah,
but it's at least 10. It's just the limit. That's,
yeah,
and
exactly.
starting small, I find.
Exactly. And it might be good too, because as you're kind of getting into it, like we had mentioned in the beginning of this conversation, you're going to come across your triggers. So if you do like small increments, then they're going to be smaller triggers, right? If you like jump
Yeah.
in too deep, then there's like, boof, it's a big wave that comes over your head and you might not be ready for that trigger, right? So
Yeah.
it's important. And it's like New Year's resolution of like starting the gym and then you go like 7 days a week and then after 2 weeks you don't go anymore because you're
No.
like, so it's
Yeah.
the same thing. It's like training yourself into enjoying it.
Training yourself into also, as you said, discipline.
Yeah.
Because I think the discipline part is also very kind of like the more you do it and the more you that's the idea I was trying to figure out. But like the more you do it, because you're doing it for yourself, but the more also you respect yourself
Mm,
and that you said you were going to meditate, so you will meditate, then it's almost like you're telling yourself like, I obey is not the right word, but I trust myself that when I say I'm going to do this, I will do it.
mhm,
And that trust is also super important because then you know that you can trust yourself to do harder things,
mhm, mhm.
harder work.
Yeah.
And it's like
I
building
like
a
that a
building a
lot.
relationship with yourself.
Yeah. And you're increasing your self-worth, you feel like you're trustworthy, and that you
Yeah.
keep your word and all that
You
stuff. Like
keep your word. Exactly.
all these things are such
Yeah.
psychological tools that are super helpful for us. And then when we have small successes, like really be happy for ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah,
Dependable too. You
yeah,
keep your word and you can depend on yourself. You know that
yeah,
like you will be there. It's like that thing that you
yeah.
start to become that okay, if there's something else I find that I've really gained from meditating over the years is a confidence in myself, but not a confidence towards others. It's more confidence and kind of like trusting myself.
Hmm.
Trusting and also kind of like loving myself to a part that I couldn't before.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. It's almost as you were talking, I was thinking about it's kind of like creating that safety for yourself that you're craving from the outside.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
become your own kind of safety net. It's like, yes, I can do this. I can hold myself. I can hold you know, my trust in myself. I can
Yeah.
hold the love for myself, like all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Bless
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Um,
All right. I love this. Very beautiful.
um, yeah, so let me think if I wanted to ask you, I thought what was another really interesting thing. Um, yeah, I wanted to ask you in your meditation, does it talk about space? Because I found something really interesting in the meditation that he guides us through, the one that I was following,
Hmm.
is it really made me think about space in a totally different way.
Mm.
And you know that idea that you were saying that we're all connected.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like when we do this, like what I find so interesting about meditation is that, um, we can want so many things outside of our lives. We can want more money, we want a different place to live, we want a different view, but you close your eyes, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. Like what you find in here is so interesting.
Yeah.
And I realized that you don't need anything else. That's what's so powerful about it. But what's interesting in the meditation that I do is that like he gets you to kind of like think about space.
Hmm.
So space of the room and like where you are in your body and can you feel the space? Can you feel the space in front of you and behind you and stuff like that? And it's really interesting to try to do that
Yes.
because you're trying to do it with the senses that you usually use, like feel or hearing or smelling or something, but you realize that's not how you feel space.
Yeah.
and it's really but again it's like a training, and
Yeah.
so like you think you feel it, and then you're like, well, am I really feeling it? And
Hmm.
then and what I also found really interesting is that he talks about sometimes like imagining how much space is space, and I realize like I know like just with my human mind infinity is such a hard concept to grasp. Like
Yeah.
my mind won't get it, will not compute, like it just
Syntax
doesn't.
error.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, I get it, but I
Hmm.
can't grasp it. And one of the things I found was super interesting with this meditation is that, again, when you close your eyes and he talks about space, all of a sudden, if you're really in darkness and blackness, whether you're here or like a million light years away, you can't tell.
No.
And I realized that as soon as I close my eyes, the space and kind of like my physical like space can either contract or expand, but contract in a good way too, in
Yeah.
the sense of like there is no distance.
Right.
Like if I close my eyes, like yes, you're in Sweden and I'm in Canada right now, but like technically, like kind of what you were saying, we are all connected. And so I find that when I do this visualization and kind of like it really changes sometimes like my mind. It's a fun exercise just in itself, just the beginning of the meditation, even before you get to the manifestation part.
Yeah, absolutely. And you did such a good job at describing that. And also what I feel is like if you really kind of close your eyes and you focus in on it, you can't really tell where your body ends and where the rest of the
Mm.
space begins. I
Totally,
think
totally.
that's a big part of the point too, right?
Yeah,
We feel like we know where we are in space,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like this is my body, it's this big, I know that this is right. And then you close your eyes and you focus on it and you can't tell. You can't
No, you
tell where
can't.
you are. It's the same thing as when you go inside and you start to look for yourself. You're like,
Mm.
where is Marie? Where
Yeah,
is
yeah,
like the
yeah.
part that, thinks this way? Where's the part that feels this way? And if you try it, and if anyone that's listening will want to try it, you cannot find yourself.
No,
It's
yeah,
just empty space in there.
yeah,
And that's the craziest thing the first time you try that. You're like, but I
it
must
is.
be in her somewhere. You can't find yourself. Nowhere.
Yeah. But I love what you said too about the space thing. I find that's amazing because especially like certain things, like for example, when I close my eyes and he asked at one point to imagine the space between your temples. My
Yeah.
temple feels huge when my eyes are closed. It's true. Like
I love that.
it's so crazy. And
Yeah.
and it's really funny how that happens. And then the same thing like for example, when I have my amazing meditations,
Mm.
what happens to me is I have this physical thing that happens. Like all of a sudden, like I don't know, I feel this like I feel my body expand. It's this weird feeling like it's again, it's undescribable in words and but all of a sudden I'm like my there's this like aura or energy or something. Um it's fascinating
Yeah.
because it's real, you are feeling it.
Yes.
I haven't lost myself completely though. That's one of the things I'm working on because at one point he says imagine yourself not being a person, a place, a thing or
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
I have a hard time sometimes like I still feel my body sitting there in the meditation
Yeah.
position. It's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll come eventually, it comes
Yeah.
eventually. That's those moments where it's like you disappear, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
I think to everyone that comes at a certain point in time,
Yeah.
and it's an interesting feeling to be sure, right?
Yeah.
It's very it's indescribable. We don't have words for what that feels like.
Yeah.
We only have our experience, right?
Yeah.
We only have our
Yeah.
experience to know what that feels like.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's amazing just this like what I find crazy is as soon as I close my eyes, I it really hit me a couple of years ago again when I was trying to change a lot of my outside circumstances.
Yeah.
But as soon as like and I was like, oh, I want to live in a place that's beautiful and like inspiring. But I realized like, well, even if I was meditating on that beach, as soon as I close my eyes, I'm in the same place.
Yeah. I know.
So I
Yeah.
might as like
Yeah.
as long as I'm warm, I feel like that's the main thing. As long as I'm kind of like warm and feel comfortable, the
Mhm.
rest doesn't
Yeah,
really
yeah.
matter.
Yeah, it's so
It's
true.
very liberating.
It is because what you will find is that everything that you actually need is within you, and then you don't need all of these other things because you're
Exactly.
already home, right? You're already with
Yeah.
yourself, you're already home, you're
Yeah.
already safe, you're already, in this beautiful energy. And
Yeah.
I think that energy is what we all have been missing. That's the energy that we're trying to replace by like shopping, by watching Netflix, by you know, porn,
Distraction.
by drugs, coffee, sugar, everything is that feeling. Because when we don't have that feeling, we feel lost, we feel
Yeah.
disconnected.
Yeah.
So I think that's the most beautiful gift that meditation gives you is bringing you back home to you.
Yeah, I agree. And also sitting through, I can't remember who it was, but somebody said if everybody was capable of sitting with themselves for 30 minutes, there would be no problems in the world. Because it's sometimes, and we do, it's for some reason it's weird because as we said, now we love that feeling, um, but sometimes it can like, sometimes like you sit down and you just want to jump out of your skin.
Yeah.
And if you can't, like and then that's the feeling that we want to distract ourselves with,
Hmm.
as you said,
Yeah,
with
we
all
go
these other
there,
things.
we go there kicking and screaming, right? We have
Yeah,
to either hit rock bottom or things have to get pretty bad, and then eventually then we're ready to come back in. And then
yeah,
what we do, we're still kicking and screaming because it's so uncomfortable, right? It's
yeah,
extremely uncomfortable to meet your own brain that's constantly talking to you, and the few different voices that are in your head that are saying different things to you nonstop, right?
yeah.
It's a hurdle that we need to cross in order to kind of get back into, I want to say the Holy Land, but you know what I mean, right? The Garden of Eden, that's our own
Yeah.
body, you know?
That is in us all. I really
Mhm.
do think that. And I find that more and more that's one of the philosophies I like a lot is, that we are all source. We're
Yes.
not separate. There is not this identity that's superior.
No.
It's different. It might have more knowledge, but somehow we're connected. I don't really, I haven't figured it all out. I don't have a clear, precise way, but I do like that idea that we have access to it personally whenever we need.
Yeah, we absolutely do. And
Yeah.
that's a beautiful way of describing meditation, I would say.
Yeah.
Finding that access point, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also just I agree with what you just said, finding that access point and knowing that it's it's free.
It's
You
free.
just have to close
It's
your eyes.
yours. It's your personal landline to
Yeah.
cosmos, you know.
Yeah.
And you're always connected.
Yeah.
You're just distracted from being connected, and you're veiling yourself from that connection. And then once you actually realize that you're the one who's been preventing yourself from accessing this space, it's the biggest cosmic joke.
What do you mean?
What I mean is that, we go through life and we have all these experiences and we say, oh my God, I can't believe that happened to me. And that person was so mean. And then
Oh
this,
yeah.
my parents, and this happened. And this is
Poor
horrible for
me.
me. And I'm not making fun of it because I've
No,
gone
no.
through it myself and it's extremely painful. But then we come out on the other side, we start to reach that space inside of us that the suffering has been pointing the way back in here each and
Mm,
every time. It's been like, don't look there, look here. Don't look
mm,
there, look here, right?
mhm,
But we
mhm.
go there kicking and screaming. Then we come back in here and we start to realize, wait a minute, like I created those situations for myself to learn
Mm,
this. I created
mm,
those situations so that I could forgive. I created
yeah,
those situations so that I could learn how to love, so that
yeah,
I could have the experience of feeling abandoned, of feeling left, of feeling completely alone. Why? So that I could come back in here.
yeah,
And then when we
yeah,
start to realize that, it's almost funny. It's a
yeah,
it's a joke that we pull on ourselves because we are the ones who've created all these different veils and blocks and situations so that we won't be able to feel this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we start to, and then we come back in and we're like, wow, it was me all along.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
always been here. I'm the
Yeah.
same that I was when I was 5. This is the
Yeah.
same sensation I have in my body when I was 15, 30,
Yeah.
40,
Yeah.
whatever. And that's when we come back into our internal nature, our
Hmm.
multidimensionality, our being. And the only way that we could go on this journey was by forgetting. And
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
we remember.
Yeah.
That's what
And
I
I
mean.
don't know about you, but every once in a while, it's not all the time, but every once in a while, I love it because I actually end up liking whatever I had to go through. It's not always easy, but sometimes like it's, and I feel like it's more and more these days, but
Yes.
I become grateful even for those hardships.
Yes.
Grateful even for the hard things. And as you say, I don't want to make fun of it because first of all, I still go through them again. You know, I have my
Right
own
now.
version. It's new, it's different.
Yeah.
Um, but it's and when you go through, I had recently, like last week, I had something come up and it something triggered something very deep, even though it was really silly. The situation in itself was completely absurd, but it didn't matter. What it triggered was a deep emotion that was very hurtful.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's but sometimes like I'm getting to the point more and more where I'm like, okay, instead of this is happening to me, this is happening for me. So what can I learn here? Like, why am I learning this lesson instead of like, why
Mm,
is this happening to me?
yeah.
But
Exactly. Exactly.
it's not a, but it's, some days I get completely sucked in to the
Tell
situation.
me about it. Tell me about it. Sometimes I'm not sitting here calmly talking to you about this. Sometimes I'm in it and I'm raging and screaming and crying, and I'm like, why?
For sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, I'm
completely
not above
back.
it.
Oh, no, 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 no,
No.
no, no. This is just a good day, right?
This is just a good
Or
day.
it's my camera face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
No, but
it's us being humans,
yeah,
and doing the best we can every single day. And on the days we're not doing so well, we'll get up again the next day and, start all over again,
yeah,
pushing that rock up the hill again, and
yeah,
and
yeah,
being okay with falling more than once,
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like we're here to get beaten up, it seems like.
Well, actually, that's where I'm wanting to change, actually.
Yeah.
I was wondering why is it that we have to have so many hard things? Like somebody was telling me that maybe the new people, the new souls coming down are not having to go through so many hardships to be able to
Yeah.
get to the different place. I don't know, maybe our generation needed that, maybe we needed that, but some more and more I'm also wanting to be getting to a place of less hardships. Like I want to still learn, but I don't know why it needs to be so hard anymore. And
Yeah.
I think I'm gotten to a place where it might not have to be. I
Yeah,
hope so.
absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely. I think suffering, it's as I was trying to explain, suffering is only needed as long as it's needed. Then
Yeah.
it's no longer
Yeah.
needed, right?
Yeah.
So when we start to come into contact with this is happening for me, and we do it right away as we're interfacing with the
Yeah.
situation,
Yeah.
then we can transform that energy much, much faster. We don't
Yeah.
have to go through the trauma, the hardship, and so on.
Yeah.
And and to your point about the new generations, I'm absolutely seeing that in some of the younger children coming
Oh
in.
yeah.
My kids being some of them, and it's like they have a completely different flowy relationship to life, and it's
Wow.
as if they're
Beautiful.
accepting things more, and being more in that energy. And so
Mm.
I feel like they probably don't have to go through as many hardships because they're not, they're wired differently.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I,
And
I
also
absolutely agree.
probably thanks to the parenting too,
Yeah.
and
And the stuff that our generation has gone through, right? To kind
exactly.
of clear the way for,
Yeah.
clear up all that trauma, clear up all the wounding,
Yeah.
and make way for new generations to come in that don't have to carry all this stuff because we cleaned it up a little bit.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
goes back again to that thing of you cleaning up your little part of the street, you sweeping your side, even if it sounds or feels as if you're just doing it for yourself, actually has huge you know what I mean?
Yes, I know exactly what I did.
I can't say that
Repercussions.
word. What?
Repercussions.
Yes, that word.
I get the same way sometimes. I'm like, I know this word.
I can't say it.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, it had huge, influences down the
yes,
line for
yeah,
and
it
big,
absolutely
big,
does.
and you think it's small, but actually, your children will have a different view of life, and that's huge.
It's huge. It's huge. And imagine then the next generation after them,
Yeah,
they'll be
yeah.
like, Grandma had it hard, but but we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hope that that's always the way it is because, sometimes I look back on my grandparents and think they had it hard too. I'm so excited to be in my generation. And
yeah,
sometimes, I went through a little bit of an envious phase for the generation coming up, but actually more and more, I feel like this is, I'm happy to be where I am. I'm happy to
yeah.
know what I did, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm definitely accepting my faith, and I also kind of believe that I am somewhat of a warrior. So this was a suiting
mission.
mission for me because I feel like there's a lot of kind of, how should I say it? If, like fire energy, like
Mm,
so I think that you send in different souls for different missions, right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
our souls were sent in to kind of be a little bit of weed whackers, and we're probably used to that, we're used to like just cutting down stuff.
Here's the forest,
This
like,
has gotta go, we're done,
yeah, cleaning,
boom.
cleaning. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think I'm very much happy with this type of situation, and I feel like I'm the right person for it. I have the
I
right
love that.
kind of attitude, right?
That's awesome. Yeah, I
I think we
agree. I
all
think
do. You do
I
also,
agree.
right?
I feel that I'm feeling more and more happy to be myself.
Yes.
Really happy to, not knowing exactly not knowing exactly where I'm going now, but actually it's funny, that is exactly what I visualized today in
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
manifestation was being super excited about not knowing.
I know. I know.
Being excited about being like is uncertainty is, it
Mhm.
is so exciting
It is.
because it is pure potential.
Yeah. Yeah, it
And
is.
when you can be okay and feel safe in that space, it's so exciting because
I
I
know.
realized that
Yeah.
I was realizing that actually not knowing things is what keeps things interesting.
It is.
So I want to learn to be happy in that space because if you know exactly what you're going to be doing in a year, yes, I mean, you can have goals and things, but sometimes that can be stagnant.
Yeah, it can be. And also, if we bring it back to that point, like think about, being part of those generations that like have one leg on remembering what it was
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
going through the actual transformation and then coming out on the other side as something new. Like that's the most exciting thing, right? To like
Yeah.
land
Yeah.
over here on the other side and be like, yep, everything is done. Like that's not right,
No.
but to
Yeah.
like have both experiences and
Yeah.
to actually physically in our body going through this transformation and
Yeah.
ending up on the other side in a more beautiful, well balanced world, that's like something I would be excited about.
Totally. It's
Yeah.
like a film. It's like a movie.
Yeah.
And that's actually why I think it's so cool what you're doing with these podcasts and lives and everything because
Yeah.
it's so easy after when somebody has kind of arrived and
Yes.
to be like, "Oh, it was so hard and it was so I was lost," and
Yeah.
but it feels empty when the person's already arrived, when
Yes.
they,
Yes.
feeling lost is, if you can describe it when you're in the middle of it, people can really relate to that. And I
Yeah.
think that that's what's interesting about you, even like documenting your meditation and
Yeah.
being like, okay, this is how I started and
Hmm.
this is how it feels, and this is a hard day and this is a great day, and
Yeah.
just to remind of people about the process.
Yeah, it becomes signposts for people that are following, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's what we need more and more. Like, we don't need this guru to sit on top of a mountain and be like, yes, you can get here anytime you want. It's like, but how? Right? How
Yeah,
do
yeah,
I
yeah,
even start? Like, oh,
yeah.
just breathe, be yourself. Oh, perfect. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Yeah,
So,
I
and I think
agree.
that's what we're all doing. You as well. We're bridge builders. We are brick by brick, creating this bridge that's bringing us over into another space. And I think it's gorgeous.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
really is. You know, that's why we're here.
That's why we're here.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mm.
exciting.
Yeah. So, Kat, any final words for somebody who's thinking about starting? They're excited about meditating now that they're like, let's go, let's do
Let's
this.
do it. I would really just say to to go in and to trust yourself. Like kind of trust that you can do this, that you can that you're, that you and I are both normal, and we're not superhuman.
Oh,
And it's just a question of being consistent and just starting to build that inner trust with yourself.
yeah. Yeah, I think we're definitely very much representatives of ordinary people, right? So there's nothing super special about us, and we felt very much doubt and all the things that we've been describing, and that didn't
And
stop
still do.
us, right?
And still do.
And still do, and that's not stopping us. So we're continuing and we're moving through the doubt, and I think that's the difference between being successful and not being successful, if you can even say it like that. But
Yeah.
being a disciple and like jumping off, and everyone is going to start in their own time, and
Yeah.
that's totally fine too. So everything is in perfect timing, right?
What would you say to somebody about to start?
I would say something very similar to what you said. Believe in yourself, and this is what I've been telling friends that have asked, how, what are you doing, how, and so on. And I say, I didn't believe it either. I did
Yeah.
not believe it, and it still works even if you don't believe it. I
Yeah.
literally thought when I started that it was working for my friend Jenny, but it wasn't going to work for me.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
though
Yeah.
she said it, it's going to be fine, right? And
Yeah.
that I say the same thing now. I didn't think it was going to work for me, and it still worked. So whether you believe it or not believe it, it's still, if you put your attention and focus on it, it's still going to work. You just
And
have to stay consistent.
and I think that what you just said, that I didn't believe it, but I thought it worked for other people. That is actually one of the things I loved in that video that I saw about you. I think
Yeah,
that is like such a great phrase to tell somebody. I
yeah,
think that is the perfect thing to tell
yeah,
somebody because I think that helps them
yeah,
remember that they can do it too.
exactly.
So thank you for that because that's
Yeah,
really inspiring.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. And thank you for coming on here today. And I'm sure we'll do lots of other fun
Yeah,
conversations.
let's do it.
This
Yeah,
is awesome.
really cool.
Yeah,
Really fun to talk to you and thank you. Thanks for having this idea to do this.
yeah, thank you. Take care.
All right, take
Bye,
care.
everyone.
Bye.